Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Brews. I am your host, Commander Claw, and today I'm bringing you a very glass cannon Gruul commander. And what does glass cannon mean? It pretty much means all or nothing. That's the way you're probably going to play with this deck. And the card itself looks like it. Anyway, this is Redshift, Rocketeer Chief for red and a green. 2/3, legendary creature, goblin pilot, piloto. Piloto. He look like he's in an F1 racer. Piloto. He has vigilance. Okay. He says tap him. Add X mana of any one color, where X is Redshift's power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Most likely, you probably will have a +1/+1 theme or equip artifact equipments to boost his power. So you can add X mana of any one color equal to his strength. So if he is a 10/10, that means you're adding either 10 red mana or 10 green mana, or if he's in one of your Urborg decks, is whatever you plan on doing with it. Anyways, he has the ability Exhaust for 10 red and a green. That is a total of 12 mana. Breathe for a second. 12 mana. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So you're thinking, I need to have my hand loaded with cards. I need to have my hand with all the cards that I want to do. You're not limited by this at all because, there's a bunch of creature combinations, enchantment creature combinations, planeswalker creature combinations of this source that you want to put on the battlefield at one time to ultimately win the game. So this Breaking Brews episode, I'm going to give you 5 cards. I lied. It's more than 5 cards. I've been doing that lately because you know why? I appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I'm that close to 1,000 subscribers. So all I need you to do, because most of my viewers are coming from YouTube recommendations, and this is probably the first time you ever seen me. Yeah, nice to meet you. But anyways, the first cards will be how to make infinite mana. Second card is a buff effect, but the third set of cards are really good win conditions. Or, that extra spiciness that you want to add to the deck, and, your opponents are not going to like you. Yeah. But anyway, let's get right to it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, mainly subscribe so I can hit that 1,000 mark and see what happens after that. Let's go. Okay, these 2 artifact equipments will be your most targeted removal from your opponent's perspective. If they know these are one of the 2 artifact equipments that will make infinite mana, do not expect it to last. So in that terms, that means you need to plan this spell accordingly. First up, we have Umbral Mantle for 3 artifact equipment. It says equipped creature has tap 3 and untap this creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Equip 0. That is disgusting. So essentially, if Redshift's mana is 4, you tap him to add 4 mana, tap 3 mana to untap him. He gets another +2/+2. Oh, so now his power is what? A 6, 7? And you repeat this process and his power gets stronger and you add more mana, infinite mana, infinite mana. You get my point here. Yes. Next up, we have Staff of Domination. It's an artifact. It says tap 1 mana, untap Staff of Domination. Tap 2, you gain 1 life. Tap 3, untap target creature, which we will be doing with Redshift. Tap 4, tap target creature. Tap 5, tap draw a card. So essentially, we want to do the third one here. Make sure our Redshift's power is 4. So we can tap 3 of that mana to untap him. Tap him again to add mana. Tap him, untap him again. You see where I'm going here. These are infinite mana loops. Nothing else more to say. Moving on to the next card. Now, you players probably just learned we just made infinite mana, so the exhaust ability won't be that expensive. But we're going to give you a third option here to reduce the cost of exhaust, because there will be scenarios where you have a bunch of cards in your hand and you cannot add the infinite mana combination. So we have Agatha of the Vile Cauldron for red and a green, a 1/1 human warlock legendary creature. She says activated abilities of creatures you control get X less to cast, where X is Agatha's of the Vile Cauldron's power. This effect can't reduce the mana, and that costs no less than 1 mana. So yeah, once again, you got to boost this gal up to make her beefy. And guess what? She will reduce the cost of exhaust, possibly going down to a minimum of red green. Not bad. She also has the ability to tap total of 6, 4 red and green. Other creature you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and haste until end of turn. This is great because if you have Redshift and he has making infinite mana, you pretty much created an overrun effect for all your creatures. Game winning. I did include Balls Invoker over here on the left for 2 and a red, 4/2 Dragon Shaman. Scorching Ray is his ability. Tap a total of 8 mana. Bakar Balls Invoker deals 4 damage to each opponent. So if you're making infinite mana, you're doing infinite damage to each of your opponents. Moving on. Okay, we got Tyvar the Pummeler for 1 and 2 green, 3/3 elf warrior legendary creature. Says tap another untapped creature you control. Tyvar the Pummeler gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. We're not going to be using that ability with Redshift. The next ability is what we're going to be using. Tap 3 and 2 green. Creature you control get +X/+S until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So, yeah, if Redshift is pretty beefy himself, you know, your creatures can get whatever his power is. But if you like to have a Galt on the battlefield where his power and toughness is 12/12, you pretty much for 5 mana can give your creatures +12/+12. Not bad. Not much else to talk about here. Moving on to game winning con game. I cannot talk. Win cons. Yes. This over here on the left hand side is one of my favorite red spells because I like to share it with viewers like yourself because I think it is underestimated, underappreciated, and is lost in the world of magic cards because there's so many good cards. Heretic's Punishment for 4 and a red enchantment says tap 3 and a red, choose target creature or player. Then put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Heretic's Punishment deals damage to that creature or players equal to the highest converted mana cost among those cards. So, pretty much, if you have infinite mana and you need another win con, drop Heretic's Punishment on the battlefield. Make sure you have enough cards in your library to finish off your opponents. Most likely in this Gruul deck, you have a bunch of high CMC cards, but do not underestimate a bunch of 4 CMC cards add up. They add up. They do a lot of damage. They will do a lot of damage, especially you got infinite mana. So you will be milling cards also, but that's also good because you know what? You may have a timeless elf creature that eternalizes and bring back cards from your graveyard to your hand. So that is no biggie. A bunch of regrowth effects, I should have said. But anyway, moving on to Captive Flame for 2 and a red enchantment. It says tap a red. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. I recommend this card because why not put this card on the battlefield and help your opponents take out your opponents? That's political card. Hey, buddy, you got an unblockable sleuth creature, unblockable spirit creature, and it's only a 1/1. Why not hit your opponent and, for not attacking me and I'll boost his power? Oh my gosh, you give it +1/+0. That is the scenario that I'm giving you here. This is also really nasty if your opponent has a creature with infect. Ooh. Ooh, I should have added an infect creature in this. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking, y'all. But yeah, you see where I'm going with Captive Flame here. Nice enchantment just to boost the power of your opponent's creatures alongside yours. Remember, right? Redshift's ability is at instant speed, so do it on their turn. Okay, so bear with me on this idea. I've not built this deck, but I'm giving you 3 pieces. I think Redshift can be an artifact deck, mainly powered by Bosch Iron Golem. This is for fun here. This is for fun. Okay, hear me out here. We're gonna start on the right hand side. Bosch Iron Golem for 8 mana is a 6/7 legendary artifact creature golem. The reason why I'm excited to bring you this card because making a mono red deck that does this as your commander is tough to do. But I believe Redshift makes it possible. So he's a 6/7 creature with trample. Tap a total of 4 mana, 3 in a red, sacrifice an artifact. Bosch Iron Golem deals damage equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value to any target. So the reason why I think that's good in this red green deck, because you can always reanimate artifacts. Red does that very well. So even if you sacrifice an artifact, there's a way to get it back. And that brings us to the card in the middle, Pious Revolution. For 3 mana, 2 and a red, it's an enchantment. Whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has Pious Revolution, deal 3 damage to him or her. So this gets ugly because your opponents are put in a predicament. Let's say the card that you sacrifice to Basha Iron Golem is only 2 CMC. Well, they're not going to take 3. So you get to put that card back into your hand. Play it and do it again. And remember, you have Redshift, so you can make infinite mana. Infinite mana. So eventually your opponents will take 3. Then you just move on to the next artifact to sacrifice and put them in that same predicament. But also, you got pretty heavy CMC artifacts here. Darksteel Forge is a 9 CMC artifact. Artifacts you control have indestructible. Great card to put onto the battlefield to protect all your artifacts from those crazy board wipes, unless it's a farewell, which says exile all creatures and artifacts and all that jazz. But anyway, Darksteel Forge could be an answer to save at the last hurrah when you're sacrificing all those artifacts with Bosch Iron Golem. So, your opponent just takes 9 damage. Let me know what you think about this deck idea. Maybe you want me to build it. I don't know. But I think it'd be a pretty good idea. Pretty good idea. Moving on to the last 3 cards that I believe you missed. So, first up, we're going to start on the left-hand side. Mech Hanger. It is a land that says tap to add 1 colors, but it also says tap and add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a pilot or vehicle spell. Then tap 3 mana, target vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. We only care about the second one because guess what? Redshift is a pilot. So imagine getting your opening hand and you don't even have to mana ramp and put the cards into your hand. You can get Redshift onto the battlefield quite quickly. If you have a red, then Mech Hanger can tap for green because Redshift is a green red Gruul creature and it's a pilot. Yes. Moving on to the middle. Obviously, we need haste enablers, so whenever we play Redshift, he can activate his abilities on that turn. Goblin Chieftain for 1 and 2 red. It has haste. Other goblins you control get +1/+1 and have haste. So essentially, this power boosts Redshift, making him a 3/4 with haste and vigilance, and you can activate his ability the turn that you play Redshift. That's a win. Next up, we got Goblin Taskmaster. Taskmaster for 1 red. It's a goblin. It says target goblin gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So, maybe you need to get to 4 mana some way, somehow, and you have one of the previous artifact equipments I recommended to create infinite mana. You just got 4 mana available. Give him +1/+0 2 times. He is a 4/3, and you start activating all your abilities right away. Just another enabler for you to get infinite mana by power boosting Redshift, because you will be in a predicament where Redshift is only a 2/3 when he enters the battlefield, and you don't have a chance to boost his power. This is an answer. Moving on to the summary for Redshift. Stick around if you made it this far. Don't forget to subscribe. Redshift, Rocketeer Chief, awesome commander for Gruul colors. 2 of the most fun-loving colors to play creatures and other permanent spells. And you know what? He says, play it all at one time with his exhaustibility. Your biggest downfall is you just need to put a bunch of cards in your hand to play what you want to play. Power boosting him is easy. He goes infinite easy. So many different ways. 12 mana is really nothing. It looks like a lot, but it's not. Have fun with Redshift. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this commander and any other cards that you suggest. Thank you for watching another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw. Peace.